So you like the new haircut? Well, I mean, it's not for everybody, but you know me. I'm, starting to lose my hair and stuff, so got to keep it, Makes me look like a monk. Gary, we are doing very well. Let's not go back to that. Hello, everyone. Jerryactric here with Jerryactric Midnight Movie Review, and tonight it was Don't Breathe. This was a horror film, and it was very interesting. And let's get a little bit to the plot. So the plot basically concerns a girl by the name of Rocky. Rocky has a very bad home life. She wants to get away with her little sister, and her boyfriend, I think his name was Money, not Cash, Money, says, hey, we can rob this house. There's this guy, he's just a blind guy, and it'll be easy money. So her boyfriend, and her friend, Alex, go to rob this place. The guy is blind, but he is far from an easy mark, because there's more to this guy than, if you'll excuse the pun, meets the eye. And a very claustrophobic movie unfolds after that. I really like this movie. I loved this idea because it's not a very big location. There's a very limited cast, and it makes it work because this is a horror movie. People die, but it works almost as a tension film, because the tension at some points is almost unbearable. And it really works that by having so few characters, you really have to invest in these characters. The characters all seem very believable, their actions and how they react. Jane Levy, I hope I'm saying that right, is Rocky. You might remember her from the critically underwatched television show Suburgatory. Suburbs and Purgatory. I never could say it. Or the recent Evil Dead remake. She was the main character. And she's very believable. I mean, it's kind of interesting that you have a character whose sole motivation is an honorable one. She wants to get away from a family who is just so unsettling in the limited amount of time we see them. But she is doing something wrong. She's going to rob somebody who, is blind, and so it's very interesting that our main character is somebody who's doing something for the right reasons, but is doing something wrong. Stephen Lang plays the blind guy. Again, you might remember him as the general from Avatar, and he plays it very well because it's very hard to play a character who has a disability and to make it believable. But he moves like it. He moves like somebody who has lost his sight, that he can't see anything, and other senses have become attuned to that. And he's very scary because it's interesting to take a character who isn't under a mask like Leatherface or horribly disfigured like Freddy Krueger and make him scary. And that's actually what makes it work a lot better, is because he is scary, because we've seen a blind person on the street. We've seen them. And to have a character who you think is, I guess, prey, who turns out to be a predator, is it's very disconcerting. It makes the horror more real. It makes the action seem much more believable. You think these people are in real trouble, and it's a fantastic job by him. Stephen Lang, as I said, he's in a lot of stuff. He's kind of in a lot of those bit parts, but he's very good in this. He creates a very believable character, which, again, is something that's kind of lacking in horror movies. There is no real character development with Freddy Krueger or Jason or any of those other monsters, but he's not just acting scary because he's in a horror movie and that's what his job description. He portrays a character. And that's something that's sometimes lacking, because sometimes, recently, we'd had a lot of body count movies where gruesome torture porn, and to have a monster, your antagonist, who is very believable, strengthens the whole movie as a whole. This was directed by, now this one I am going to mess up, Fede Alvarez, I believe. I think this might be his first movie. The name never, struck out to me. So it, but yeah, this is a very good job. It's a very tense and scary movie. And one of the things that I've always dealt with my life is I love scary movies. And I always try to get family members, friends to see them. And one of the people who I always try to get is my mom. And she is not scared by supernatural things. The second something supernatural appears on screen, she goes, "This is supernatural. This can't be happening, so it's not scary." But if you give her a movie where the villain and the situation is very, very realistic, Silence of the Lambs, for example, she gets very scared. So I'm going to recommend this movie to her because, as I said, it's a very good, tense movie. And sometimes that's lacking in horror movies. Sometimes it's just, okay, let's just get to it. Let's get to the kills. And to have a thing where there's tension, like, oh my God, you're holding your breath, you're gripping the arms of your seat, trying to figure out what's going to happen. I think that's a really good job, because sometimes horror fans don't really get the respect they deserve, because they just think, well, they're horror fans, they don't want anything, thought-provoking. They just, give them bodies, murder and, sex and, drugs and all that other stuff. So this is actually kind of a more recent push towards more thinking horror movies. Another one is It Follows, which was a very different take on, the horror genre. And also, as I said, one of the ones I did here, The Witch, which was, again, just study in mounting tension. And it works very well. You don't sometimes need a huge body count. You don't need gruesome, horrible death. And so, I like it. Rated R, violence, language. As I said, if you're one of those people who can watch horror movies because you can distance yourself, this isn't real, you might want to skip this one, because it's very believable, and it will just take you to a level where you're just, and I honestly think you need to see this in the theaters, because with the darkened room, especially with the premise of a guy who can't see, especially towards the end, where the blind man, who do we ever get his name in that movie? I don't think we do. Actually turns off all the lights, and suddenly you're in his world, and it's just in a darkened theater. It's just that much more, palpable. So go see it. Scary movie. Don't bring the kids. And so this is Jerryactric, Midnight Movie Review, reminding you, if you're not going to the movies, then what are you doing with your life? What, you remember Wait Until Dark? Audrey Hepburn, right? Yeah, I remember hearing about that. Same thing, blind woman, right? But she's like the hero. Oh my God, they turned on all the lights in that sequence? That's crazy. I don't know. Sometimes, we've had power outages here and just bad. But again, sometimes you just never know what's really lurking in the dark. Good thing is that because of this very case, the government started to look at its bidder process. Miles Teller plays the main guy, David, who we sympathize with this guy.